Oh, what's up? What's up, everybody? And welcome to another episode of Nick Krem Live. And as you guys know, Nick Krem Live is powered by contentcards.com. That's content cards with a Z.com. And with me today is Ryan Stewman. What's up, Ryan?
What's up, Nick? How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So yeah, Ryan, aka the Hardcore Closer. You know, he's the president, CEO, and founder of PhoneSites.com. He just hosted an event featuring Billie Jean, Frank Kern, and a lot of many others. Six-time best-selling author, been featured in Forbes, Huffpost, Inc., and much, much more. You know, millions of podcast views. But a lot of that's just the numbers behind it. So, Ryan, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself here?
You know, it's always weird when someone's like, tell hey, tell us about yourself. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, we go all the way back to when I was a kid, or
Right.
we talk about earlier today. And I think really, if anything, I've made a lot of mistakes, and because of that, I've gained a lot of experiences. And I'm a risk taker, so I've crashed and burned quite a bit. And dumb people repeat their mistakes. Smart people learn from them and eventually make enough of them to escape making more of them, or at least like the goal's never to stop making mistakes. The goal is
Right.
to make better mistakes, right? Maybe even bigger mistakes. So. But I've been through a lot of hell in my life and have a lot of experience and have shared it from pretty much, anything that you could think of, from being adopted to being on drugs to being incarcerated, divorced. Like I've managed to fuck it all up somehow,
Yeah. Right. So you're the hardcore closer. So for people from the outside looking in, like, what is the hardcore closer and what can they expect from following you on that level?
Well, really, like, I'm just Ryan Stewman, man. That's just like a nickname or a handle or whatever. And When I started in this business, this online world, I did sales training. But it wasn't your typical, here's what you say type of sales training. It was how to generate leads and have conversations and set up follow-ups, like modern day. And that's still what I teach. And but it's not like the gift of gab and how to go prospect and all this shit. It's how to set up an attraction marketing machine. But back in the day when I was doing this, it wasn't like it is now. Like right now, if you're like, hey, you can make money from Instagram, people are like, okay, that makes sense, because I know people make money from Facebook and LinkedIn, so it makes sense. Back when I started this, I was like, hey, you can make money from Facebook, and people are like, Facebook? Get the fuck out of here. You can't make money from Facebook. Why would anybody buy anything on Facebook, right?
Right.
And you couldn't even run ads. Like back, I was doing the social media thing back when you couldn't even run ads on the platform yet. Wow. And so I say that because I got the name Hardcore Closer, because I had to convince people that, like, now is the time, like, get ahead now. But I tell you what, one of my first clients, JP Piccinini, I ran his social media back in 2010 or 11, and that guy does $3 billion a year in sales. My second or third client, a guy named Dustin Black, he now owns the largest moving franchise and most profitable moving company in the nation. I mean, so Frederick Eklund was another one who we all know from TV, $1 million listing or whatever. So those folks that I had to become that hardcore closer to convince to do shit with me are awfully wealthy because of that,
Right.
But that's how I got so I got this nickname, the Hardcore Closer, and I was like, that's cool. I'll just like name a blog after it and everything else, and it just kind of became a brand. But that's not, I'm Ryan Stewman. Hardcore Closer is just the website that I write for and all this other stuff. And I mean, it represents our brand and shit like that. But, I'm not this like high pressure salesperson anymore. And I never really was a high pressure salesperson. I was always like a servant salesperson. I still am. But these days, I'll be honest with you, man, I can still close with the best of them because I'm coaching my guys. But dude, I'm a CEO first and foremost. I should be the hardcore CEO at this point. I'm gonna change my handle.
Right. Man, so like going back to the days before Facebook had ads, I can't even go back that far, at least in my knowledge. But yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. So no, I can definitely see where you get the hardcore closer from. So, at some point, what's up?
Yeah, people didn't believe it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Be like, you can make money from Facebook. Get the fuck out of here. Every time, and I would go to networking meetings and shit, and nobody believed me. But like those first probably 50 or so clients I have are all very popular on social media these days.
Yeah, I believe the one is Black Tie. Is it Black Tie Moving Company?
Dustin Black. Yep.
Yeah, I know he's doing pretty dang well if I know a moving company, because I can tell you what, I don't know much on the other ones. So
I name another moving company. I'll wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, everybody knows
Seriously.
so.
Right. So, like at one point you started off like an employee, just like the rest of us. I followed your story for some time. Then you switched over to building your personal brand. So like, was there something that like clicked in your head that really made you start building yourself up instead?
Well, I wouldn't say it clicked in my head. So I was a banker. I ran a mortgage company. I didn't run a mortgage company. I did mortgages, and I was a one-man team and was very successful at it. Just kind of stayed in my own lane. And in 2010, President Obama signed something into law called the Dodd-Frank Act. And basically it said if you're a felon, you can't write mortgages anymore. Well, I was by definition a felon.
Yeah.
And so the thing that you, quote unquote, said clicked was like a gavel coming down or something like that. And I had to find something that didn't require a license, and I didn't need a boss or a partner. I was tired of that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I had ventured into my own before. So I did mortgages since 2003. And in 2005, I took my foot off the gas with mortgages and started investing in real estate. And I ran 2 companies in 2005 to 2006.
Yeah.
And did pretty well. I ended up checking myself into federal prison in 2007 for unrelated shit. And so I had to shut those businesses down, but I had a taste of it before. And in 2005, I made $773,000, owning my own company. So, so I had a taste of it, but going to prison, coming out, starting a mortgage business, then Obama passed the law that basically took, just talk about a fucking blow to your confidence,
Yeah.
And so it's like, shit, dude, should I start this again? Every time I start my own business, something gets real fucked up. Last time I was in jail, unrelated shit, and I didn't have really much of a choice. And so I just started, originally I managed people's social media, which meant I logged in as you and posted on your behalf.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. And I charged like $100 a month to do the shit.
Yeah.
Like dirt cheap. And then from there, I learned a lot because I had like 70 something clients. So I learned a lot about social media in about 6 or 7 months, like from multiple perspectives and everything else. And so then I started teaching it. It's like, hey, I became an expert. And I started teaching what I learned, and nobody was around doing that back then. You know? And really here in the next 3 or 4 years, there won't be social media experts anymore because everybody will know how to fucking use social media. It'll just be intuitive. We've always had it at that point, Yeah,
like growing up, like I've always had it in my hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and we're running out of people to teach. The older generation's even starting to pick it up.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a really good point. And so following you and like following your podcast, everything that you have going on, you're not afraid to share your story. As like a lot of people are kind of like timid about it. Was there anything that caused you to start sharing your story more? And how much does that like really contribute to your success, do you think?
Well, I don't like keeping secrets, and I don't like people to have secrets on me. So like, let's say that me and you met for lunch, right? Like we don't really know each other and we go and we meet for lunch. Turns out you're really cool. And I'm like, and we go to lunch and maybe we have a beer or something. And I'm like, hey man, fuck it. Let's go to the strip club. And then I go there and, we do some coke and get some girls and shit like that. Now all of a sudden you got a secret because I don't want that shit out of the public. Right. So now like in the future, you could be like, hey, Stewman, I need you to promote my podcast. And I'm like, man, what, dude, it's not really for my audience. And then you're able to say, well, dude, look, I could tell your wife about the fucking hookers we had that night. You know what I mean? And so, and the reason why I share it like that is like, I don't like secrets, even shit that I'm not so proud of. I don't want somebody to hit me up and go, hey, dude, I'm going to tell the world that you're a federal firearms trafficker and been convicted of it if you don't promote my product or if you don't give me $1,000 or extort me or whatever. See, when I started this business, I was successful in the banking business. I know a lot of people that are online weren't successful in anything else, and that's okay. This is a great place to get started. But I was already successful, so I had to taste the good life. So I know what happens when you start to get money. And I knew I was going to come in and eventually be where I'm at today. A lot of people say, did you ever imagine? I fucking imagined it every goddamn time I got here.
Yeah.
Right? But here's the thing. I also know what happens along the way. People try to fucking hold you back, and they try to fucking hold you down, and they try to hold shit against you. And so I just came out like Eminem on 8 Mile and said, fuck it, I did all this shit. It's fucking 10 times more fucked up than you could ever imagine. Fuck it, if you don't like me because of it, I'm not that person anymore. And a lot of people didn't like me at first. And I went in a little too heavy in the beginning. I'm not going to lie, but I got a lot of attention doing it. But, you know, and that was part of why I got the hardcore closer nickname too. It's like, dude, this guy's fucking hardcore. He's like, no fucks given, you know? And, but as I've leveled up in life, a lot of that's changed, but I still share my story because it's important. Yeah. Because, you know, if you have some shit that's happened in your life, you need to hear my story to know that, like, let's say that you were adopted or your dad gave up on you or you've overdosed on drugs or you've been to prison or you've been abused or whatever the fuck it is, man. Like, you need to hear that there's somebody who's been through that shit that's on the other end. And if I kept that to myself, I'd kind of be an asshole because I have like a superpower that I never use. Like, imagine if I knew how to denuclearize the world and I never fucking told people how to do it. That'd be kind of a really asshole thing to die with, you know? And although what I have may not be as powerful as denuclearizing the world, I feel like what I have is powerful for the right people in this world. And I needed to be able to, make sure that I was empowered to where nobody could hold nothing against me the bigger I got, because I was destined to get big, which I'm destined to get even bigger. And the next thing is, you know what? I just needed to relate to people. Yeah. Here's the truth. When I looked at this industry, when I got in it, I said, I need to be a disruption. And I looked at the 4 top guys in the industry when I joined. None of them were on social media at the time, by the way, but it was Grant Cardone, Brian Tracy, Jordan Belfort, and fuck, dude, who cares about the other guys? Somebody, right? And so those were the guys that were, you know, playing the Google pay-per-click and all that shit game, right? None of them were on social media. And all of them had a hell of a lot more money than I did. So I knew there was 2 things I had to do. I had to be way different than them, and I had to beat them to social media, because once they got there, they could outspend me, which is funny. They all showed up, spent a bunch of money on Facebook, and bounced the fuck out of there. So they like interrupted my shit for 2 years, and then just like, I don't know, man. But anyway, so I looked at these guys. I said, what all do they have in common? Well, they all promote religion. You know, Brian Tracy tells you to go to church on Sunday. Grant promotes Scientology. Jordan's a change man. They all have questionable backgrounds. Like, no offense to the guys, but, you know, I don't know what Brian Tracy really sold. You know what I mean? And if he did that in the 70s, that probably shit doesn't work that well today. Grant Cardone, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him, but his story doesn't add up. You know, he says he sold cars, then he says he sold fish in a market. So, okay, so you did that, but where does the millions upon millions of dollars it takes to – and I'm sure that it's there. They're just not being as honest as I am about their story. That's all. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's a legit logical transition. They're just not being transparent about it. Or maybe it's out there and I don't know. But at the time, I fucking for sure didn't know, and I still don't know. Belfort had ripped a bunch of people off and been kicked out of 3 countries for ripping people off. So I had to be like, okay, so what's going to separate me from these guys? First of all, they all wear a suit. They never cussed, none of them, right? Like, not on any videos, anything you ever saw in their books. They never cussed. Belfort a little bit because of the Wolf of Wall Street movie, but before that, that wasn't his thing either. And so I said, well, you know what, dude? These guys are weird, because every sales floor I ever been on, people hate wearing suits. They don't go to church on Sunday. They're probably on drugs or drinking at least. They're chasing women, you know, and it's majority dudes. And I said, so I'm just going to come and show up like I do in the office. I'm going to show up with tattoos. I'm going to show up wearing a T-shirt. I'm going to outsell every motherfucker in here that's with a Rolex on, and I'll just be me. And I did. And all those guys that I named all reached out to me way back in the day, and they're like, dude, you can't do this. You won't make it in our industry. But if you look at Grant Cardone right now, that son of a bitch got the same haircut I got. You go back and look what I'm doing now, man. He don't never wear nothing but T-shirts and fucking hats and hoodies and all the shit that I've been wearing for years. I'm not trying to like take credit for no shit like that, but I'm saying I did this industry. Jordan Belfort, if you go look at him, he was never seen without a fucking suit on. That motherfucker don't even put a shirt on now. He'd be on Instagram. He doesn't. Shirt off all day and shit like that. Like Charlie Harper from 2.5 Minutes. And so I got these guys to loosen up and really connect with the marketplace. And that's awesome. In the beginning, they were like, there's no way you cussing and all this shit is gonna change the marketplace. And if you now look, they've had to adopt. I saw something long before they did. They just have a lot bigger head start than I did because they had money, whereas I was forced to get lost everything trying to fucking figure it out, you know. But things are good these days, and I'm definitely making an impact with my podcast and the programs that we have. We created shit at this point. I don't even know how many millionaire, like it's weird, an astronomical amount of people are now making millions of dollars a year because of our program. We've created, I know at least 5 companies that I've worked with that weren't even doing 9 figures when I started working with them that are doing, fucking 10 figures now, multiple 10 figures. So it's been a cool ride. And I found a nice, spot to where, I'll go through periods where I work my ass off, and then I got periods where I can chill out a little bit, but the money still comes in because of the work that I did. So, I've got a nice little setup. I don't have to be on the road every day. I don't have to be in the office every day. Sometimes I don't even show up at the office or make a sales call all day long, so I've got a nice little balance going for them. And, I've changed the industry. Now we reach more people and we're more connectable because we're not these, I am a suited Sunday church sales guy. Like, where does that guy fucking exist? Right? They don't. Like, any sales floor I ever been on, there was not, if there was that guy that was like a suit and tie church guy, none of us fucking hung out with him. And he wasn't a top producer. He didn't have enough demons to get there,
Right. No, I think that's a great point that you make, because I mean that's something that when I was listening to your stuff, I kind of inferred that, you didn't want anybody to have anything to hold against you. You don't want to be having somebody sitting there be like, hey, did you know Ryan went to jail, or anything along those lines? You said it first, so like you're putting
laugh at them. If they're like, dude, the guy went to jail, they're like, fuck off.
Yeah, Ryan told me. Yeah. Right, so I knew like that point of it, but you make a dang good point too on the other end of inspiring other people who have been down in the dumps and have had not even as worse situations that are using those as excuses, like fuck your excuses. Use those excuses to hold you back. So you're like, man, I've been through worse. I've been through probably 10 times worse things than you, and look at where I'm at. Kind of shit, kind of like that silver light of it can happen. If it happened to me, it can happen to you, right? So no, I think that's a good point that you bring up there. And so I want to talk about a little bit about your newer podcast, Rewire. First, can you like explain a little bit about like what people would hear on that podcast?
Yeah, so the idea of the podcast is so we live by something called the G code, right? Yeah. And it's a process. And if you're a member of our program, you learn this process. But part of that process is waking up every morning, and the second thing that you do is listen to something positive, something inspirational, something motivational. Right. So I created that thing for our people, and apparently a lot more than my clients listen to it. I mean, it's insane. Like, we're getting, this month alone, we have like 68,000. We're not even a year old. And I never promoted it. Never. Like, I hardly go find where I post it on social media. Just like I hardly ever fucking promote the thing, but people love it. And, so we'll have 70,000 downloads last month or so. People just organically listen to it because it's that good, and they listen to it every day because it's only 4 or 5 minutes. So you pick it up, intro, me talking about some stuff, and deuces, I'm out, right? And so people start their day, they start following this G code, and Rewire is part of it. But one thing that I do want to say before we move forward about the last part is you said something right. You're like you said, me sharing my experiences helps other people say, fuck their excuses, which is our company motto, right? Like we got it everywhere. That's like our thing, right? Right. And so here's what happens to most people. And I'm going to we'll spend the next 10 minutes talking about this and wrap this up. Ahead. This will be much more valuable than anything else that I could share with you guys. So here's why most people fall victim to their excuses, why most people don't get the job done. There's no reason why I shouldn't be a homeless person out here on the side of a road with a sign like, we'll suck dick for fucking money. Right? Right. I've been to prison, right? That's right there. First of all, it's a huge excuse for a lot of people. I've been to prison twice. So that's even fucking bigger, right?
Yeah. And a felon at that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was adopted, right? Yeah. I was adopted. My dad ran away on me. My adopted dad beat the shit out of me on a regular basis. I quit school. I've been divorced. I mean, like, life has taken a big Cleveland steamer on top of me, right?
Shout out Cleveland.
Several times, right? Yeah. And here's the difference, though, between why I'm here and not out there on the street. And I'm going to give you these tools. Now, before I say this, you have to understand, my biggest talent on this planet is taking very complex shit, making it real simple. The problem is smart people that watch stuff like this try to fucking complicate the shit that I've worked with. It's simple. So just keep it simple, okay? Yeah. Most people, when they're in dark periods of their life, they focus on the darkness. Let me give you an example. So when I was about 8 or 9 years old, my parents, we didn't have a whole lot of money, so we took a vacation down to San Antonio, Texas, about a 3-hour drive from here. And along the way, there was this place called the Inner Space Cavern. And it's still there. It's a cave. You go down in, you get like a little mine train thing, and you go down in this cave and explore, and you pay $5 a ticket or whatever. And so I taught my parents, hey, you see the billboards as you're driving down the street, right? So I taught them, hey, we got to stop there. We got to stop there. We got to stop there. So we stop there, and they take us way down deep into this cave, man. And they're showing us lights, and they got flashlights, and there's lights that they've thrown down there and stuff. They take us down to the very bottom of the cave, and they're like, okay, we're going to kill the lights so that you can experience what total darkness is. Total darkness is where you can wave your hand in front of your face. You can't even see your fingers move, right? Like, it is just absolute darkness. Well, if you're in total darkness for about 8 hours, your mind starts to unwind. If you're in total darkness for 24 hours, you start to lose your mind. If you're in total darkness for 48 hours, you start to go absolutely crazy. And if you stay in for more than a week, there's no coming back. Okay? Well, most people live their life in total darkness, right? Some darkness comes in that, somebody breaks their heart, or they've got an addiction, or they committed a crime, or just shit's not right. They lost their job, the medical issues. It's just fucking dark, whatever it is. It's total darkness for them. It's so fucking dark that they can't even see their hand. But here's what I knew as a kid. First of all, I learned that if you focus on that darkness, you'll end up going fucking insane and not being able to come back if you're in it for a week. The second thing is, we got down there somehow. So there's always a light somewhere that I have to be searching for. Yeah. If I was lost down there, I would spend my time feeling around every rock, trying to fucking make my way towards whatever light that I could find as fast as I could possibly find it. That is a metaphor for life. Most people would sit down on a rock and go, fuck, it's dark in here. I guess I've got 8 hours before I start going crazy. Right. Yeah. And they're so focused on the darkness. The darkness gives them anxiety. The darkness makes them panic. The darkness just freaks them out. And the darkness, they start losing their mind faster than that 8 hours because they've made the situation worse than it was. See, for me, what I start doing is immediately looking for the light. And sometimes you can't see the light. Sometimes it's not obvious. Like, there it is. Let's go towards it. Right. Sometimes you can see it, and there's big fucking rocks and obstacles in the way. However, I never take my eyes. I never take my focus. Right. And focus isn't just vision. Focus is vision and applied action to make something a reality. I never took my eyes off of the fucking light, and I never took my focus away from finding that light. When I went to prison, I didn't sit there and complain the fact that I was into prison. I ordered every fucking business book I can. I borrowed every fucking Wall Street Journal newspaper, news source I can to self-educate myself. I went in a guy with a GED. I came out a guy with a PhD, right? Because I focused on what was going to happen when I got out, not why the fuck I was in there or what the fuck got me in there. Who cares? It happened. What's the fucking solution? When people get on the solution side of life instead of focusing on the problem side of life, problems are total darkness. And if you focus on total darkness, that's where you'll dwell. The solution is the light. And if you focus on finding the light, we've proved as human beings time and time again, we can survive in some of the most adverse situations you can imagine, even if we're not fully trained or capable because of our mind. And so if you start focusing on solutions, you get more of the solutions. And most people, they fall into these dark periods, they focus on the darkness, and they never make their way out. And by the time they do, they're batshit fucking crazy because it's been more than a week, right? Yeah. And for me, I'm focused on the light no matter what, because I know the only way to keep my sanity is to find the solution.
Man, I'll tell you what, that really resonates with me, because I felt like for a while there, like myself too, I was stuck in the darkness. I wasn't stuck. I made myself stuck in the darkness.
We all
enjoyed it.
Nobody stay there. We choose.
Yeah, you're 100% right. And that's why something that Al Stacey started, or I don't know if he started it, but the 100% accountability, zero excuses. Just thinking about, yeah, he has that tattooed right there. Yeah. So I'm in the office with Cleveland. I'll tell you what, that's something that changed my life. Because I started realizing I was the reason I'm there. I'm the reason I'm going to get out. And it's my choice at that point. And just taking accountability for everything that happened, because it was not my fault, but my actions got me to that point. And the only thing that's going to get me out of there were my actions. So the 100-0 mindset. And then I started my own thing, Win the Day, which I got a tattooed somewhere on me now too. It's just every single day starting off with your wins. Going out, winning every day, because it happens one day at a time. So that's the mindset that I've incorporated and I've kind of kicked off as well, was just winning the day. You're not going to win the year. You're going to win the day. And then in result, you're going to start winning everything else around that.
Dude, I track my daily wins. That's part of the G code. And
is it?
Dude, I've got 500 and something wins, dude. Anytime I'm having a bad day, I can look back and remind myself that I win every day pretty easily, you know?
Yeah. No, I love that. So Ryan, why don't you tell us a little bit of, like, what are you currently working on right now? What do you got going on?
Well, dude, you know, I stay busy, you know, and I run 6 companies. I'm CEO of 6 companies. The big thing that we push right now is our phone sites program. We have some software that's absolutely changing the game. If you work in sales or if you own a small business, it's this simple. If you're not collecting data right now on the people that are visiting your website, on the friends that you have on social media, on the customers that walk through your front door, if you're not collecting data and advertising and monetizing that data, you'll be out of business in less than a decade. Companies, like, data is the most expensive resource in the world right now, more expensive than oil. And if you're not collecting data, you're going to be in trouble by those of us that have, right? Like if I need money right now, let's say the IRS says I owe them $1 million. I have a 200,000 person email list that I can hit and extract $1 million from that pretty easily, right? And if you don't, and you owe the IRS money or the mafia money, or you fall sick or get in an accident or whatever, and you don't have data that you can reach out to, you are fucked, because that is the way the world works. And so phone sites is the equalizer, because here's the problem. Most people don't have data because they're like, websites are expensive. And even if you buy sales funnel software like ClickFunnels or Lead Pages, A, it's $300 a month. And B, it's hard as fuck to, like, unless you're an internet marketer, it's hard to understand. They're great products. I'm not knocking them. We use them, but we're internet marketers, right? The average person is just somebody who needs a website that'll collect name, email address, phone number, and maybe addresses of people who are interested in their offers. And phone sites allows you to do that in about 5 minutes from your mobile device or your desktop. You don't have to download an app. You don't have to go through training. It is as simple. It's like the iPhone of websites. You like simply scroll down and everything makes sense, and you put it in order and you look at it and holy shit, I made a website in 5 minutes. And you can make websites that are like super elaborate and badass, again, with no training, or you can make something simple with just a few words and an opt-in button. You can use videos, pictures, backgrounds, fonts, whatever you need. And I believe in it so much that I give it to you for 2 weeks for free. You can go in, build a funnel, get leads, run ads, all the shit that you need to do on me, absolutely free. I believe that if you go in and you take action, and you'll never leave us. We've been around for a year. And we have like one of the highest stick rates in the software industry, because like we deliver, we're simple, and it's something that anybody can use anytime, as opposed to, well, I need 6 hours to sit down and map all this out. So it's phonesites.com. Got the website up right there. You guys can go over there and get a 2-week free trial and get everything set up super easy, super fast on me.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, yeah, guys, we're going to be dropping that in the links below. Ryan, thanks a lot for coming on. I know there's a lot of value. For those of you just joining us now, go back to the beginning, watch from the beginning, and then make sure to check out the link here. Ryan, thanks for coming on. And, guys, we'll see you next week.
Later.
Later.